All right, what's going on, everybody? Wanted to hop on live stream real quick. I'm testing out some new software, so you can see the logo to my right. Haven't paid for the professional version yet, so right here you see the Ecamm live right there. But right now I'm actually simulcasting to YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, and the Facebook page. So if you're watching on one of those platforms, welcome. I wanted to hop on here and test out this software, but also answer any questions that you might have. So feel free to say hello and let me know where you're coming to me from right now and what you guys have been up to lately. So I should be able to see your comments filter through here in a second. It looks like on my end, everything is working well. So feel free. I think there's a little bit of a delay on when the comments come in, but now I see Ziggy, Zahir, and see a few comments coming in here. So that's cool. What's up, guys? And let's see. Let me try. I think I can do a cool thing here and actually add this. Boom. Hey, what's up? There you go. So, all right, I'll be playing around with this software while I'm answering all of your questions. I only see YouTube comments coming in right now, but I think if you guys are watching on another platform, whether it's LinkedIn or Twitter or the Facebook page, I'll pop in there and check out any comments that you might have there. So if you guys are watching live, you'll be able to ask any questions on the live chat. And if you have any questions after the fact, just leave a comment below and let me know, and I'll do my best to get back to you as soon as possible. So we already have close to 70 people watching live right now, I think mainly on YouTube. So I'm going to go ahead and start answering your questions. This is a cool comment. Azur says, "Hey Harry, I remember driving you and your family on your way to LAX last year." So wow, awesome. I would love to know what trip that was on. If I had a baby, then it was obviously me and my wife and my family probably going somewhere. And okay, we just got our first comment in from Facebook, so I'm going to go ahead and put that on the screen and answer it. Let me know. Maybe I should put it a little lower. How does that seem? Let me just move it a little so you guys can see it better. So it's sort of not in the way. And all right, so I need to know if getting a small business loan is possible for us and how to apply. So it is possible actually for you guys to get a small business loan. I'm going to pull open a really good email that I got here. Let me see if I can do something and actually share my screen. So let me know how that looks. I think that should be sharing my screen now. All right, so you guys are now in my email, but I want to highlight this. So there's a Paycheck protection program which says for businesses with 500 or less employees, that's an Uber or Lyft driver. You know, you guys are businesses whether you realize it or not. Okay, let's see. Clay says the font is too small on that. Let me see if I can make it bigger. I'll make it bigger when we switch back. And but basically it says in operation on 2/15/20. New modified loans are made available through the SBA. The amount of the loan is limited to the lesser of $10 million or 2.5 times. All right, Clay says very, very tiny. Like I said, I'm still working on the whatchamacallit, the logistics of this new software, but hopefully you guys can see this okay. And it says you can apply for the Paycheck Protection Program at any lending institution that is approved to participate. You can call your bank or find SBA approved lenders in your area through SBA's online lender match tool. So basically, to apply for one of these loans, then you have to kind of go through a bank and do that. So, you know, what I will say with a lot of this stuff with unemployment and with the loans and all of that, it is, you know, I think they haven't quite finalized a lot of this information. They're still sort of figuring a lot out, right? If you guys have noticed, Uber and Lyft haven't even sent anything out yet. So I think once they do, that'll clarify a lot of things. I think they're kind of figuring things out themselves right now. Let me push this comment kind of like there so you guys can see, and then move it a little bit. Okay, so I'll delete that comment. And Robin says, I was looking at SBA forms too. Application takes a couple of hours, filing tax return first. So, Clay, sorry about the writing. I'll figure that one out next time. Don't worry, and we'll make sure it's big enough for you guys. But let's see, what other questions do we have? Ziggy says, I was put on self-quarantine. Let me pull this question onto the live. He says, I was put on self-quarantine for 14 days because of symptoms, notified Uber, have a letter from the doctor, waiting for Uber to tell me where to send the doctor note, but I haven't been deactivated by Uber and Lyft. So we have a article that we posted on the blog that kind of details a story of a driver who this happened to, and he, sort of went through the whole process, and he was paid out by Uber, but also shared something on my Twitter earlier that some drivers are having issues getting paid from Uber if they've been diagnosed with a self-quarantine or something to that effect. So definitely, I guess what I would say, so there's a link on Uber's website. Let me figure out if I can find a way to, how do I type into the chat here? Let's see, there we go. All right. So there's that, and then I can see those comments. Sorry, bear with me for 1 sec, guys. I'm just playing with the software. All right. Let me mute myself there, and I'll leave a link in, I guess I won't be able to leave a link in all of the live chats, but I'll do it on YouTube for now, since I think that's where we have the most people watching. And I see a question coming in from the Financial Samurai on Twitter, which I'll get to in a second. And let's see. So the question was about the basically driver coronavirus. So I'll leave a link right now so you guys can, basically we did a story on the blog on the rideshare guy titled, This Driver Might Have Coronavirus, Here's How Uber Handled It. So I'll go ahead and leave a link to that right now. You guys can check it out. And if you want to go through that process, if you guys have been quarantined, obviously you want to stay safe and all that. But, of course, Uber and Lyft do have this program now. If you've been quarantined or diagnosed by a doctor with coronavirus, then you can go to them and get that. Ziggy wants to know, where do you apply for a grant? So I think Jay shared a link in the YouTube live, but I think you can also, I'll leave a link right now to this small business thing that I found in the live chat that can give you guys a little bit more info over on YouTube for you, Timothy, and hopefully that will help. So to be honest, guys, we're sort of still figuring out a lot of this stuff right now as far as where you need to apply for these things and kind of how much drivers are going to get. So as soon as this happens, I think we'll definitely cover it over on the blog and YouTube. But I think for now, it's sort of figuring some of these things out and kind of, I think we're all sort of figuring it out, right? So for example, like with the small business loans, I just got this worksheet today, which I shared in the YouTube live right now. And it sounds like they're saying to go apply through a partner bank, and you can kind of go through a list because, if you look at this worksheet, it says, if you're an independent contractor, are you eligible? Yes, right? So you are eligible for the Paycheck Protection Program, which is basically this loan. So hopefully you can take advantage of that. Jesus says, can I apply for unemployment or just the drivers who got the virus? So you don't have to have, so Uber, I guess to get a quick recap. So Uber and Lyft and all of these other gig economy companies have their own program where if you get sick or if you're diagnosed, you can go straight to them and they'll give you 14 days of pay. Now, we highlighted the story of a driver who this actually happened to. He ended up getting paid. Other drivers have said they've had trouble and they've struggled, and we're sort of trying to figure out what the best situation to do, for those drivers is. And I just shared a tweet about that. But then the next situation is this unemployment, right? That the state and I guess federal is going to be offering. And so, in order to get unemployment, you would need to apply through your local state unemployment office, but it's still unclear, and this has just happened in the past few days, still unclear if or how drivers are going to be paid that money, since obviously Uber and Lyft aren't paying into unemployment, but the federal government is somehow going to have to pay for that money. So that's kind of how you can handle that. And then the third thing is this Paycheck protection program for small businesses. So if you wanted basically a loan, then Uber and Lyft drivers do qualify, and what we're still sort of trying to figure out how to get that loan. But it sounds like there's certain banks that you can talk to. There's a lender match tool online, which I shared in the YouTube live. So, as I'm sure we'll have Jay, who's on live chat right now on YouTube, figure some of this out and have him go out and test it. And as soon as we do, we'll definitely be doing some articles and doing some videos about all of that. So hopefully that will be helpful there. Let's see. I don't think any of the LinkedIn comments are coming over onto the live chat, but I'm going to go ahead and pop in there and see what's happening. What's up, Burnt? He says, what platform is this? Well, I'm streaming live on Ecamm through Restream and then out to 4 different platforms. So kind of confusing setup, but it seems to be working. Over on LinkedIn, Nicole asked, I drive for Uber in Las Vegas, but I'm considered an essential worker for my full-time job. And Randall says, good afternoon. I've been driving with Uber in New York City. I've been self-employed all along since this health crisis began. I haven't worked. Do I qualify for unemployment insurance benefits? So yes, I believe you will, right? So Uber and Lyft drivers do qualify for this unemployment. So I guess the nice thing for drivers is, though, even though there are a lot of drivers struggling right now, there are a lot of things in the works. Now, that may not help you too much if it's April 1st and you have bills to pay and need to figure this out right now, but it is better than nothing. So hopefully, as more information comes out about this, you'll be able to take advantage of it. Now, I do want to ask a quick favor. If you guys, I think we've been streaming now for about 10 minutes. This is the first time I've used this software. I think it's going pretty well. It's got some cool features. I can add comments on. It doesn't seem to be bringing in the LinkedIn comments, but it is bringing in Facebook, YouTube, and and Twitter, so Periscope. So hopefully everything is sounding clear and looking clear. If you guys are watching right now, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up if you don't mind. I think on YouTube, you might have to X out of the live chat to give the video a thumbs up. And if you're on one of the other platforms, you can probably like it or give it a little heart or whatever it is, just so I can sort of see how that all works. And then that way we can kind of reach more people. So I think right now YouTube is definitely in the lead. We've got close to 90 people watching live. And over on LinkedIn, I don't know if it says how many people are watching on LinkedIn, but I think we've got a few. We've got a couple. Nicole asks, would I qualify for the loan from the SBA? Uber was supplementing my income, so the answer is yes, you would. I'll also leave a link for you in that live chat over there. And Timothy says, how much is it worth to you? Well, I guess for a like, it's not really worth a ton to me, but the more likes and the more love we get on these YouTube lives, the more often I'll be able to come live. And, I think with the whole coronavirus thing going on and everything changing so quickly, we're spending a lot of time researching a lot of these things and, getting a ton of questions from drivers. So at the same time, I think it might be, I did a live last week that was pretty popular. I think I'm going to try to go live at least once a week going forward and see how that goes to kind of keep you guys informed and updated. And hopefully you guys can all join and kind of take advantage of these lives. So if you're not subscribed on YouTube, I definitely would go over to YouTube and subscribe to our channel there. You can go to therideshareguy.com/YouTube. You can also subscribe on LinkedIn. We've been doing a pretty cool newsletter over on LinkedIn that I'm going to leave a little link to. And it's been a lot of fun. Let's see, how do I leave a link to it though? Here we go. So if you guys want to subscribe to our bi-weekly newsletter over on LinkedIn, how do you do that? Yeah, I'll figure it out in a second and then send you guys a link. But you can follow us over on LinkedIn too, and then that way you can check out our newsletter. So let's see what other questions we have coming in and what I can ask you. So Dennis says, is Uber Greenlight still going to open on April 6th? So I'm not sure. I haven't heard the latest update on the Uber Greenlight Center's opening. I would imagine that, a lot of this stuff is getting delayed right now, and a lot, the sort of or not delayed, a lot of the shelter in place orders and things like that are getting pushed back. So I would be surprised if Uber opened the green light centers anytime April 6th. And this obviously kind of sucks for drivers because the green light centers are one of the best places that you can get help, right? So for a lot of these more complex issues, it's a struggle to get it resolved over chat. So I don't know if we have a great solution right now other than calling or sending a message through the app and email, but hopefully they will open sooner rather than later. But I think that it may not be looking good there. So hopefully that answers your question there. And I'll go ahead and ask a few more questions. Definitely looks like we've got a lot of questions about unemployment and also the small business loans that are coming out. So those are the two things that I'm going to be looking into a lot this week is like, how do you actually file for this unemployment and how do you go through that process? And it's going to be different for every state. But like I mentioned, you want to go to your state's local website and the unemployment office for your local state and start doing that and see how it goes. And then also with the small business loans, I think I definitely want to try and get one of those. I may even need one for my business myself, the way things are going. But let's see let's see what questions we can answer here. All right, so good question from David. He asked, could your videos include overseas market, please? There are a lot of drivers here in Australia. Yeah, no, I'm happy to answer any questions. I think the one thing is that all the content that we do, we focus on the US markets, but a lot of the principles and the strategies are going to be the same regardless of which market you're in. So I can't tell you and when to drive in any, your city in Australia, for example, but, your city, when things get back to normal are going to have big events. They have sporting teams, the short rides versus long rides. So a lot of the principles and strategies are definitely going to be pretty much exactly the same. So regardless of what city you're driving in. So hopefully that answers your question there. Let's see, let me close out this question. And let's see what other questions we have coming in right now. Pop over to LinkedIn. Okay. I see the Innovation DJ has joined us over on LinkedIn. Hey, Danielle. And R Smart says unemployment, no work whatsoever. So any money that you bring in will affect your payment. And Queen asks about the small business loans. So yes, you do qualify for the small business loans since you're independent contractors. DL has a good question, and I guess I'll pose a question to the audience too. If you guys are an Uber or Lyft driver, I'm curious to know if you're still driving or what you've sort of moved on to. If you're doing delivery, if you're doing other services, if you're looking at these government programs, sort of what are you doing with obviously the big decrease in demand? And while you guys think about that and reply in the live chat, I'll go ahead and put this question on the screen. Where did it go? DL asks, I'm in the DC area. What happened to the cleaning supplies we were supposed to get? Well, I think that, I guess to give Uber and Lyft a little bit of credit, or not credit, but, sort of take their side a little bit as I think everyone has been challenged getting cleaning supplies and disinfectants and all that type of stuff. And they have promised certain items to Uber and Lyft drivers. I heard that Uber was passing it out at some of the green light centers before they closed all of those down. And I think Lyft is working on getting some of that stuff to drivers. But I will say, I think these companies need to get on that way quicker, right? If drivers are still driving, and if they are right now, and if they are still giving rides, I think they should 100% be providing those supplies. So I'm not sure what the hell is taking so long, to be honest. But I think that's something they definitely need to get on ASAP, and hopefully they will, because even though it's tough to source some of these items, I mean, they've got a lot of money and a lot of power, and can kind of like go take over a brewery or distillery, or all these other places that are now going out and producing some of this stuff. So hopefully they'll get on that ASAP, really, and take advantage of it. Innovation DJ is over on Twitter. She asks, "What are the top policy support that ride hail and delivery drivers are seeking today?" Well, I think to answer that question, I think frankly, it's just money. I think a lot of drivers need money. The number one questions that we're getting right now in this live chat from people over on YouTube and just in general to my email right now are about how they can, I guess, earn more with food delivery services and whatever other options are there, but also like what the government is doing in regards to unemployment, how drivers can qualify for that, if they qualify, how to go through that whole process, and then also the small business loan. So I guess the part one is that they need, that they want that money and sort of need that for all of their bills. But also number two is how do they figure it out? How do they navigate all of that? And I think that's something that we're working on right now and kind of, frankly, I wouldn't say struggling, but trying to figure out, because it is pretty complex and things are moving super fast, and, just trying to get all of that going and figuring it out. So let's see. Joe St. Pierre says, even the regular employee people haven't gotten an extra $600 a week yet. So in reference to the unemployment insurance. So that's the good thing, I will say, is that no one has gotten this money yet. I mean, I guess that's good or bad, but I guess you guys aren't missing out on anything yet. You'll definitely be the first to know when there's sort of a clear process involved and when drivers actually start getting money. Dustin, what's up, Dustin? I think I saw one of your comments earlier. So welcome to the live chat, another fellow YouTuber. I know he's been doing a bunch of good videos. Did you have an April Fool's video today, Dustin? I don't know if you did or not, but if you did, feel free to send that one to me. We posted a little April Fool's blog post. I don't know if people thought it was funny or not, but if they're curious, they can head over to rideshareguy.com and see what we posted about for April Fool's. And Dustin does say delivery services are on fire. So I feel like Instacart has definitely been on fire. I think Instacart is really the only service I've seen that Instacart where it's like really been on fire, where drivers are like, just, and obviously there's variability. I mean, Instacart workers were striking on Monday, so obviously some of them are not happy with it, and probably for good reason. But at the same time, I'm definitely seeing from some Instacart couriers that they're making very good money right now. So I think that's one of the services that I would look at right now and kind of consider driving. They also mentioned that they're hiring 300,000 workers over the next few months, so definitely an option. And as far as the other delivery services, Postmates, DoorDash, etc., I think that they're doing okay, but I don't think that they're seeing huge increase in demand. But I definitely think that if things go on longer or if things get worse, then we could easily see, a lot more demand there. So that's how I would handle that. Let's see, what other questions do we have coming in? I'll answer a couple more questions, and this will be a little bit of a shorter live, but I'll definitely be back live next week. So if you guys are watching live on YouTube or any other platform, definitely make sure that you give this video a thumbs up. You might have to close out of the live chat really quickly, give this video a thumbs up so other people will see it, and then make sure you subscribe to the channel too if you're not already subscribed, so that way you can turn on notifications and you'll know when I go live. All right, let's see. Griffin says, DoorDash is on super fire. Some pickup places, though, impossible to keep the 6 feet safety zone. So I will say, I feel like with delivery in general, there's some risk with, there's some risk if you leave the house, period, right? And with rideshare, like, honestly, I don't think driving for Uber and Lyft is the greatest idea right now. If you have to do it, definitely wish the best to you and hope that you stay safe. But you literally, you can't remain, the number one CDC recommendation is to stay 6 feet or more from other people. And obviously, as you know, in the back of an Uber or Lyft vehicle, they're 3 or 4 feet behind you. So there's not much you can do about that. But I think delivery is a lot safer in that regard, just because there's so much less human to human interaction. In kind of an ideal scenario, you walk in, the food's sitting there on the counter, you grab it, you put it in your car, and then all of the food delivery services now have contactless options for the customer. So you just leave it on their doorstep if you want, if that's what they select. And sometimes there's gonna be a little more interaction, but that's kind of why I'm a fan of delivery right now, especially if you're worried about the kind of, I guess health side of things too. So let's see, what other questions? Any other questions that you guys want to ask before I end this YouTube live? Transparentin says, do you recommend California drivers apply for unemployment insurance now or wait for Uber's follow-up email with specific resources on who to take advantage of the relief package? So that's the other thing, Uber and Lyft, I will say, I don't know, I've heard that from the people at the company that they're working very hard right now to disseminate this information. But, it's been 3, 4, 5 days since this info was released. I think they really need to get that sent out to drivers ASAP. So if you're someone who, has to have that money right now, it's like life or death, or you're about to get kicked out of your apartment, then maybe you want to try and figure it out on your own. Go to your local state's unemployment website and apply there and see what happens. Otherwise, I think Uber and Lyft are going to be sending out information hopefully by the end of the week, and really clarify a lot of the stuff. So Uber and Lyft haven't sent out an email like that to the best of my knowledge, but we'll see what happens there. Juan says, Uber and Lyft have slowed down very drastically in Miami. There's really no point being out there waiting. I've heard similar from, a lot of other people too. If you think about it, right now, there's not a ton of reason, especially in the states and cities that have shelter in place. I think that's, there's not a ton of reason to, for people to be out and about. So that's why we're seeing such lower demand. Sergio says to check out EIDL and DUA, I think is disaster something or other. I don't know what DUA stands for, but I think, yeah, no, I'm not familiar with those programs, but I know that there's a lot out there, so we'll definitely be checking that out. Robert says, Harry, send me my hazmat suit. So Robert, or R Smart, you must have checked out our April Fool's post today. So if you guys haven't looked at that, head over to the rideshareguy.com. We didn't do a video, but we did publish a little fun post since, obviously there's a lot going on right now with coronavirus, and there's a lot of important issues, but I think at the end of the day, you're kind of like getting coronavirus everywhere you look. I think sometimes it's nice to, and we've been trying to do some of this with our content, do some tax content, do some, Plan B, life after rideshare content, sort of just to take a look at some other things. So this is a good comment. Thanks, Jay. He says DUA, disaster unemployment assistance. That's something that you can take a look. Marshall says some Instacart orders are ready to pick up. Some you have to do the shopping. You choose what's available. So yeah, that's the thing. I'm sure you guys, as I have been going to the grocery store here and there, and I feel like the grocery store is extremely unsafe right now. There's like tons of people milling around. Not everyone has a mask on, and you're like within 6 feet of a lot of people. So if you're worried about some of these health risks, I think the thing is like to just be reasonable about things, right? Like you can't not get food, right? But you have to understand like what are the risks that you're willing to take, right? And so if you guys are out there working and you have to make money, I think that food delivery is the least risky, right? Instacart is probably in the middle, and Uber and Lyft are probably the most risky, right? So just sort of understand the different risk levels, and you guys can take advantage of that. Allison says, why do you go live the same time that there is a press conference? Maybe President Trump is going live right now. I didn't realize that. I don't know. There's a press conference every day from President Trump and Governor Newsom here in California. So, to be honest, I can't, I don't watch all of those. Dustin says, I texted you my video. So I know Dustin released a good April Fool's video. So if you guys want to check that out, head over to his channel on YouTube. Dustin is driving. And let's see, I saw another question come in. Jenny says, FYI, the money from the stimulus package is not available until April 3rd, 2 weeks after it was signed. So Friday will be a significant day. And yeah, that is, I think, I haven't heard of anyone actually getting the money. So in a way, you guys aren't missing out on anything. And I did see a good question here about, or a good comment about DoorDash. So Jim says DoorDash put me on the wait list. So I've gotten emails from DoorDash, Postmates, a couple others that are basically saying we now have too many drivers, because not only are a lot of rideshare drivers switching to some of these services, but there's also just a lot of everyday people who now need money and are switching to these services. So what I would say is, if you're in a state like California, it may be too late to go out and sign up for Postmates or DoorDash, but try to get in on these services before everyone else. You want to sign up for them before you need them. That's why I'm such a big proponent of saying, hey, make sure you signed up for Uber and Lyft. Make sure you add a delivery service for this situation, like what we might be experiencing right now, and then that way you can take advantage of it. So Steph, I totally agree with you. He says just wait to watch those other press conferences later. You aren't missing anything, and this is probably the only platform where you can, those press conferences, you can't ask live questions and actually get them answered on air too. So hopefully that is something that you can take advantage of. Queen says, what's the website to apply for small business loans for rideshare drivers? So I don't think there's a website where you can apply, but you might have to work with a bank. So I'm going to leave a link to a little FAQ that I found. I'll leave this in the YouTube live chat, and you can check that out, Queen. And let's see, any other questions that I can quickly answer? I think that was about it. And Griffin says, thanks, Harry. I just got on the waiting list with my bank for the Paycheck Protection Program. So cool. That's good to know, Griffin. If that's kind of how you do it, that's definitely would be good information. So I know we're going to be looking into, over the next few days, we're going to be looking into this Paycheck Protection Program and the unemployment insurance, and we'll definitely be getting back to you guys. So if you have any questions for me in the meantime, you can always watch one of our videos, leave a comment, shoot me an email, harry@therideshareguy.com. We've got about 100 people watching live on YouTube right now. So if you haven't given this video a thumbs up, I would definitely appreciate it. And that way more people can see this content. And I'm going to try and do a weekly live. My son is napping in the car right now. The AC is on, but I should probably go check on him and make sure he hasn't woken up yet, since we've been going for about 30 minutes. But just kidding. I have a little video of him right here and everything looks good. But appreciate you guys coming on, and make sure definitely that you give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Give it a like. Subscribe to the channel, or over on LinkedIn or Twitter, wherever you guys are watching this. And I'll be back next week to answer any questions that you might have about driving, coronavirus, unemployment insurance, small business loans, and hopefully I'll have definitely do some research on all these topics and be able to get you guys more answers. And of course, as always, we'll try a lot of this stuff out. So until next time, take care and stay safe out there.